Today we're going to talk about am I mod or am I mascot? And I'm ready to reveal a secret code today for the contest. So stay tuned for that. I'll reveal that later in the video. Somebody said, oh, thank goodness he's inside again. Well, today I'm outside again. And the reason I'm outside is because this was a location where we actually used to shoot a lot of videos when we needed somewhere to go that had some green space. So this is where we would go. Excuse if there's a bit of wind and a bit of tennis playing. I'm at the Parkinson Recreation Center, which is basically across the street from the old HQ, Penguin HQ. In the last video, people said, hey, can I see the character sheet templates? And I said, yes, but, or yes, and. So I have that for you this week. I'm gonna give you my template. Hopefully that'll help you guys come up with your own characters. I've got some Dungeons and Dragons monster cards with me, and these are similar to character sheets, but they're nice and portable, and they've got art on the front, which is awesome. So you got all this cool art, and then on the back you've got all the special stats. We actually had special stats like this with Club Penguin. Let's come up with a fictional website for you. I'm a huge fan of Slack. We use an animated GIF plugin called Party Parrot. We've got Club Party Parrot, and if you go there, you'll find the character sheet template that I would use, as well as some example templates. So in there we've got Pookie, and we've got Jetlag Guy, and Harry the Hatchet Guy, and this will give you some ideas of what what a fictional burb might be like. So if you're looking for the code, you'll find it buried somewhere secretly. You'll just have to find it somewhere in Club Party Parrot, so good luck with finding that. In the last video I talked about Rookie and Jetpack Guy, and so that leads me to a slightly surprising unreleased thing. A lot of folks asked me to share what's unreleased. It was something that I'd pitched, and it was something I really wanted to do, and I was really passionate about it, but it's probably for the best that we didn't actually do it. Because we would have had to support it on an ongoing basis, but I think it would have been cool. And it actually ties back to, of all things, the Muppets World Tour party. So let's talk about the Muppet Party for a second. To me, that's an example of something, I can't even tell you how much I love the Muppets. And I'm not the only one like this who worked for Penguin at the time. A lot of us were super, super passionate about the Muppets. That, though, is a party where maybe, possibly, it wasn't something that fans wanted as much as we did. Sorry about that. Yeah, it wasn't really a huge success, I don't think. One of the things that we love about the Muppets is that they're just, that it's a humor that appeals to adults as well as kids. There's like these sort of insider jokes in it. It's oddball humor, and what I also really like it from a video production standpoint is it's more like acting. It's more like live action. So if you have puppets, you can act with them and enact really crazy scenes and fun stuff. We had a pitch with Muppets, and the idea was that we would make Rookie and Jetpack Guy into custom Club Penguin Muppets. They're real Muppets made by the Muppets team about Penguin. I thought, wouldn't this be cool because it might actually get people into the Muppets? Because I think the Muppets are awesome. The idea that we could introduce Muppets to the Penguin audience to me is really exciting because that show is just awesome. I love the Muppets. I love Jim Henson's work. He's one of my greatest inspirations. The idea was that we would have an ongoing show with them. If we had these Muppets, then we could bring them in-house and act with them, and then if we wanted to do videos, we could basically, anytime we could do these videos. Downside of it is, what you don't realize about puppetry is that it really depends on the actors. And I know this seems strange because, when you're a kid, and I was a kid, you would, have the Muppets, or puppets, and you would be talking with them, and you would think, okay, well look, all it is a hand, and you're just moving it around and talking. Like, anybody could do that. But actually, interestingly enough, yes, anybody can do it, but it's like writing. Like, just because someone can do it doesn't mean that anyone can do it. The Muppets have the best puppeteers in the business. So if we were going to take these puppets and have like Muppet penguins, we'd kind of want to have the best performers in the world doing it. Not a lot of us were really trained in the art of how to do professional puppetry, where we could do some shoots, and we had some amazing video people who would shoot better than this in the harsh sunlight and not with an iPhone. But I'm just using what I have in the hopes that you will use what you have and that others will tell their stories and not make it a big production. I really love Weekend Update on Saturday Night Live, or the sort of weather report on the Muppets where it's the sort of news anchor piece going on. So I thought it would be really rad to have Rookie and Jetpack Guy as Muppets. I think we were very divided on the idea. I don't think I wasn't the only one, but I was probably the most passionate about doing this, and I think others were on the fence. But we actually went down the track of we talked to the Muppets, we talked to the Jim Henson Company, we got a quote on what it would cost to produce original real Muppets. If you saw the stop frame shorts that we did with Factory Transmedia in England, those are they were unbelievably amazing. Like, if you had the chance to, I got to touch one, and they're these beautiful structured skeletons inside, and they have all this specific materials. They actually had a seamstress in-house that would sew all the costumes and everything, and custom with different fabrics, bring in the fabrics, sew them for the little the puppets that they would use. They're essentially puppets as well, but they're made for stop motion animation rather than for just putting up a video and acting. It's amazing what art goes into the creation, the money and the art that goes into these things. They're unbelievably expensive to produce, but you get the result of when it's on screen, it looks outstanding. If you've ever seen Kubo and the Two Strings is one of my favorite movies of all time, and it's just beautiful because it's got all this texture, and it's not just the lighting, but the actual puppets that they've used for the animation are beautiful. And the same is true for the Muppets. If you ever watch a Muppet film or a show, all of the stuff is just really intricate. You can see just all the fabrics that they've put into the puppets and everything. The idea that we could have some of our characters, but maybe not the characters, maybe it would be the second tier characters, right? So when we did a vote and we said, okay, what are the best characters of all time? You get Rockhopper, you get Antarctic, they end up being in the top, like Gary the Gadget Guy, Herbert. Those are sort of your A-class characters. And then you have the cult following characters that everyone loves, but they're not quite as popular, so they're like the B tiers. Your Jetpack Guys and your Rookies, they're supporting characters. They're not the leads, they're the supporting. In Star Wars, you have Boba Fett is this cult classic character. So he's significant enough that he is interacting with the main characters, but he's not the main character. One of the things that I really wanted to do with the Mascot characters, these two mascots, Rookie and Jetpack Guy, the first thing I wanted to do was a music video. This comes back to the fact that there was always a little bit of confusion with players as to, is this a character? Is this a mascot, or is this a mod? Because we always had that fourth wall break. You had characters that were like your Antarctics, your Herberts, your Rookies, but then you had the mods. I thought it would be really funny if we did a cover version, because it was Muppets, and I loved the first reboot Muppets movie with Jason Segel. It's still one of my favorites, all-time favorites. Instead of Am I a Man or Am I a Muppet, we do Am I a Mod or Am I a Mascot? I think to some players it was confusing as okay, is Business Moose a mod or a mascot? It was smart of us over time to make it clear that it was these are people that operate, make that a lot clearer to younger kids who probably didn't understand the difference between the two, because they were ultimately still penguins that are famous that walk around. So anyways, that was just one thing I wish we had have done was, am I a mod or am I a mascot? There are over 1,000 people that worked on Club Penguin. 1,000! I think there's 1,000 other people that have interesting stories to tell. And that brings me back to, spoiler alert, if you'd walk on with a famous mod character, you'd get swarmed. So if you logged on as like screen hog, you would get just absolutely swarmed. We're actually really introverted, so the idea of like 100 people just like stepping on you just was a bit of a nightmare, actually, in a lot of ways. It was quite overwhelming. But there was something really cool there, and like because people were really excited. It's where there was a whole bunch of people on there just interacting, and emotes are flying and people are dancing. Early on in the days, we would be quite secretive about our mod accounts, because basically at the beginning they had the mod badge on the player card, and then eventually they took that off so that it wasn't like, you know, when somebody shows up, it almost elevates that person too highly. Like, we were there to serve the community, we weren't there to take over the community. I think this was a really good move at the time with Nathan, aka Gizmo. He said, let's keep this secret, everybody's got a sort of secret identity. But later on it became apparent that it was like, there's all these people that had these cool stories to tell, that are really creative, that maybe working as like a PSR or just writing you support emails, but they're a really talented musician, or they're a really talented artist, or they're a really talented graphic designer. And each one of these people have their own cool story to tell, and they have their own unique angles. And so with the spoiler alert, that was a show where I thought, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we showed the team, all of them? What if we took it and said, there's 1,000 mods that people can meet? It's not just 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 people that are like elevated to some sort of unrealistic, and, you know, in my case, I felt like sometimes undeserved stature. Don't elevate people beyond what they are, just they're humans, right? But also they're cool humans. So wouldn't it be cool if every day you know, if you logged on, you might actually just meet a mod? How cool would that be? So that's where we started slowly like unveiling everybody's penguin names. So it was like everyone had a public persona penguin, and then for those who needed to police the site and moderate, of course they also had their secret moderator penguins. But you have to have secret penguins to go and test stuff. You'd have to have secret penguins to go and moderate stuff. I had to have a ton of different penguins so that I could perform different roles. That's the interesting thing about mods and mascots, is they're still ultimately just a penguin account. You would just log on as a penguin account. The only difference is with Rockhopper, we had like 100 different accounts or something like that, and they were each Rockhopper. So that was kind of a cool insider thing, that there were a bunch of Rockhopper accounts, and that was so that the mods could log on a bunch of different servers at once, because we wanted to make sure we got to as many people as possible. Like if you had a kid who goes to Disneyland and he doesn't get to meet his or her favorite character, that's kind of a bummer, right? Anyways, guys, I hope this has been sort of fun to interact with you guys about. I just want you to know, one of the reasons that I want to do these videos is actually to help you come up with your own stories, your own worlds, and connect with each other, in the hopes of helping you come up with something that is useful, and but I'll try and keep it related to the stuff that you care about. Anyways, thanks for watching. Until next time, follow on.